Okay, man, the video just cut. Talking about I don't have enough space, man. These devices, but yeah, man, you know, when Yahweh Shai was on the scene, they thought that was the establishment of the kingdom of heaven, and that simply, you know, it simply weren't the time, you know. And then you got, you know, examples in more recent modern day terms, where, you know, you had what was it, the year 2000, man. You know, our elder apostles, alongside other elders amongst different Israelite camps, you know, at that time, it was taught that the Lord would return in the year 2000. But you see, when that didn't happen, you know, they just pinned it on Elder Apostle Tahar, man, that he was the only man in Israel teaching that. When you know, pretty much everyone in Israel was teaching that at that time, you know. But you see, that was fulfillment of prophecy. I read it again, Luke 17:22, and he said unto the disciples, the days will come when ye shall desire to see one of the days of the Son of Man, and ye shall not see it. And that's exactly what happened, man. Okay? But we're in the time where we're really about to see it. And you know, that's clearer than ever. You know, when you measure the times diligently, as it's written in 2nd Ezra 9, you know, we can see that, you know, we really ain't got much longer left out here, man, in this wicked kingdom. You know, and we're hoping that when that judgment comes, when Yahweh Shai and the holy angels come, you know, we will have mercy on us, man. You know, Habakkuk 3 and verse 2 says, O Lord, I have heard thy speech and was afraid. O Lord, revive thy work in the midst of the years. In the midst of the years, make known in wrath, remember mercy. We're praying and hoping that when, you know, Yahweh Shai and the holy angels invade this place, we're hoping to be found in mercy. You know, because we know and understand that, look, man, and what you got to understand is that the men of old, which, you know, 1 Corinthians 14 and 32 tells us, the spirit of the prophets are subject to the prophets, right? So really, we're those, you know, if we be of the elect, we're those men coming back. Okay? Now back then, you know, we was a lot more masculine, a lot more manlier, a lot more resilient to, you know, just things. You know, we had the stomach for things, for lack of better words. So for Habakkuk to express himself in that manner, he's heard that speech and was afraid. Man, you had prophets that would have visions of future events that's getting ready to take place, and they'd be sick. You know, they'd be troubled, man. So Habakkuk, he heard the speech and he was afraid. What did Esdras say? Woe is me, woe is me. Who would deliver me in those days? So Esdras understood reincarnation, and Esdras understood that he would be here in the time of what he was prophesying in the 16th chapter and in the 15th chapter and in the 8th chapter, you know, various different places, you know. So these men of old were actually afraid, man. You know, when their Heavenly Father would open up their eyes to the visions and, you know, the events that are to take place, you know, shortly, you know, they would have many adverse reactions to it. So what more actually living it out? You know, it's going to get real spooky out here, man. It's going to get real sci-fi out here. It's going to get real strange, you know. The Heavenly Father is getting ready to perform his strange act through his only begotten son Yahweh Shai. You know, let's hold this real quick. Bear with me. Right, this is Isaiah chapter 28. Oh no, is this what I wanted? Hold on. I might have to type it in. Type it in. I was in the right chapter. Isaiah 28 and 21 says, for the Lord shall rise up as a Mount Perazim, and he shall be rough in the valley of Gibeon, that he may do his work, his strange work, and bring to pass his act, his strange act. And the Lord is getting ready to do that all over again, man. You know, he's getting ready to perform an act that's going to cause the ears of all men to tingle. And we've been given the inside scoop, the inside knowledge, all right, of what's getting ready to take place. And we're doing all that we can to ensure that we're found in the good graces of the Lord when he decides to perform his act, his strange act. You know, we ain't going front like you know. We can just handle what's getting ready to happen, man. You know, really, if we ain't got the Spirit of the Lord dealing with us, man, we ain't going to be able to make it through these times, man. These are some really heavy times that we're heading into, man. You know, and it's at our doorstep now. Revelation 1 and 7, behold, he cometh with clouds, and every eye shall see him, and they also which pierced him, and all kindreds of the earth shall wail because of him, even so Amen. So when they see Yahweh Shai and them angels pull up, man, you know, they gonna be wailing, man, because, you know, especially those that pierced him, you know, because, you know, I strongly believe the Lord is gonna pour it in their hearts, you know, those that pierced him, that, yep, we're the ones, man. And they gonna know that that's Yahweh Shai, and they gonna know that they're about to get what's coming for them. You know, as it says in Hebrews 10 and 31, it is a fearful thing to fall into the hands of the living power, man. A lot of these people out here are getting ready to fall into the hands of the living power. You know, and we're just hoping that we be found in the good graces of the Lord, man. You know, because we don't know if we're of the elect. We're only going to know we're of the elect when we make it in that ship. Revelation 15 and 1. And I saw another sign in heaven, great and marvelous, 7 angels having the 7 last plagues, for in them is filled up the wrath of the Most High. And I saw, as it were, a sea of glass mingled with fire, and them that had gotten the victory over the beast, and over his image, and over his mark, and over the name, Salaka, and over the number of his name, stand on the sea of glass, having the harps of the Most High. We're going to be singing and rejoicing in that chariot, man. You know, the sea of glass represents, you know, the floor of the chariot. It's like I'm in my car right now. You've got glass up here, you know, I can see outside, I can see the sky, you know, I can see what's ahead of me, I can see what's beside me, I can see what's behind me because of the glass, right? So that's going to be the same thing with the chariot, except we're not, you know, like for me right now, I'd have to look up or look ahead. We're going to be looking down, beholding the judgment of the wicked. And we're going to be praising Yahweh Hashem Yahshai that, you know, he had mercy on us, and we was ultimately, you know, found worthy to be delivered from that plague, or from the said plagues. You know, because that's really what it's all about. you know, to be found in the good graces of the Lord, and you know, ultimately receive of that salvation, man. You know, because trust me, man, we don't want to die the death of the wicked, man. That's the true definition of going outside. You know, we to the best of our ability, man, we ain't got no intention of going outside, man. You know, we wanna go out in victory. You know, we done suffered for so long. You know, we've been in this lower state, man, for a long time now. You know, we want to be raised up in glory, man. We want to be glorified alongside Yahushua. You know, we want to appear like him, like how it says in 1 John 3:2. You know, that's what we want. That's what we're yearning for. That's what we're striving for. Okay? So let's hold this and I'm going to close out, man. This is the book of Isaiah 26, verse 20, and it reads, "Come, my people, enter thou into thy chambers, and shut thy door about thee. Hide thyself, as it were, for a little moment, until the indignation be overpast." All right, that indignation again, that's that righteous anger, man. So we gonna be in the chariot until the indignation be overpast, until the fiery judgment of the wicked be overpast, the fire subsides, and then we gonna come back down and establish order, as it says in Psalms 149. You know, to bind their kings with chains and their nobles with fetters of iron. That's you know, Revelation 21 talks about New Jerusalem coming down from heaven, you know, which is talking about us, Lord willing, will be of the elect, coming out of that spaceship in our new bodies, in our new godlike state, you know, to establish order amongst the heathen, man. Okay? So that's what's promised. And we're so close to this happening, man. You know, and you know, it's Monday here, you know, it's Monday what's the date, man? It's the 26th of January, man. You know, I'm just getting back into my city now. You know, just yesterday I was with the brothers, them did the sit down and whatnot, and you know, I live quite far out now, you know, like 2 hours away, so I don't usually do the driving in the night. You know, I usually, you know, stay in London and you know, sleep there and then wake up in the morning and do the trip. So yeah, man, you know, heading back to my city, which I'm here now. I'm almost home, and you know, just back to the same mundane existence. You know, about to answer to some stupid bitch who's probably on her period, man. You know, talking about where we at with this and, you know, all that kind of stuff. Yeah, man, you know, just a boring, mundane existence. You know, it all has to come to an end, man. You know, it's wicked. Isaiah 26. 1 second. Isaiah 26 and 21. "For behold, the Lord cometh out of his place to punish the inhabitants of the earth for their iniquity," which is sin upon sin. "The earth also shall disclose her blood, and shall no more cover her slain." You know, everything is being revealed. Esau can no longer hide himself. You know, and you know, all the, you know, even our people who follow after the ways of Esau, Edom, man. You know, they're ultimately going to receive the same fate as Esau, Edom. You know, but again, we were hoping that, you know, we be in the that, you know, we're found worthy to enter into the Lord's chambers, man. Receive of that salvation and you know, that mercy. So yeah, man, you know, I'm almost at the crib, so I'm gonna close out here, man. But yeah, I pray this video has been edifying. You know, just stay out, man, stay strong, man. We're almost out of it. So yeah, man. until next time, I say shalom.